This video will show you the best way to install PALLISIDE to ensure it gives you a lifetime of low-maintenance, hassle-free performance and style. The video is aimed at licensed building practitioners, and everything should be done in accordance with the New Zealand Building Code. The wall used in this video is for demonstration purposes only and does not necessarily represent every aspect of a code-compliant building. We'll be starting from the point where the cavity battens, cavity closers, head flashings, window support bars and joinery have all been installed. It's worth noting you install PALLISIDE from the ground up. Please make sure you have appropriate clearance between the cladding and the ground. This video focuses on the installation process for PALLISIDE Traditional weatherboards. Rusticated weatherboard profile is also available. Some of the accessories shown are specific to PALLISIDE Traditional and not available for rusticated. Be sure to read the PALLISIDE Technical Guide, the Installation Guide and the Supplementary Guide, available from palliside.co.nz. These will give you the correct setup for joinery to enable PALLISIDE weatherboards and accessories to be installed as intended. PALLISIDE uses all the same types of tools you would use for timber. It's essential to have a good compound miter saw on hand with a fine-tooth blade. Check the wall is straight and square before you begin. PALLISIDE installation starts with preparing the corners. There are two options for external 90-degree corners: corner soakers, the most common option, and box corners for a stylish new option for the corner treatment and one that suits window facings perfectly. For internal corners on traditional profile, there is one option, the PALLISIDE one-piece 90-degree internal corner. A two-piece option is available for PALLISIDE rusticated profile. The corner soaker option requires the corner base to be installed first. This acts as a corner flashing, sitting under the weatherboard. Corner bases should be fixed with nails at 300mm centres, and the battens should be offset slightly to allow airflow behind the base piece. Box corners are a great alternative option for external corners, but are only available for PALLISIDE Traditional profile. The boxed corner male and female halves must be installed on the corner first because the profile includes the corner flashing. The open end at the bottom of the box corner is capped using the moulded end cap designed to fit neatly into the profile. The PALLISIDE internal corner is a single piece. It does not have a separate cap and must also be installed prior to the weatherboards. You'll need to ensure cutting and fixing of the boards adjacent to the corner is accurate to avoid unsightly gaps. Measure and cut your starter strip. Leave it slightly short of the selected corner option bases, not overlapped. The starter strip needs to be fixed at 300mm centres. You'll need batten blocks between vertical battens set at a 5-degree angle so they don't accumulate moisture. It's useful to mark a line where the top of the starter strip will sit. This will be 30mm above the bottom of the base plate. This will then help ensure that the first weatherboard is in the right position relative to the bottom plate. It's important to ensure the starter strip is level and horizontal, as all boards will be fixed firmly on top of this. It's also important to make sure the starter strip is aligned with adjacent starter strips around corners. Now measure your first length of PALLISIDE board and cut to size. Place your first board firmly down into the starter strip and nail into position through the nailing strip at the top of the board. Point the nail slightly downward. This helps prevent boards from splitting and then creeping. Nail from one end to the other or from the middle outwards. Fix through the battens and into the frame unless you're using structural battens. Ensure nails or screw heads are flush but not over-nailed or over-screwed. Measure and cut the next board and push firmly into place. Interlocking the boards together firmly ensures the pitch is consistent up the wall. On longer walls, you may need to use flat soaker jointers. Moulded flat soakers match the shape of the board profile you're using, and they can be installed off stud as long as the weatherboard joins are staggered. Leave a 5mm gap between the weatherboards to allow for any thermal movement. The flat soaker can be inserted later. Carefully apply solvent cement to one side of the back of the soaker and then push into place, ensuring that the spine of the soaker is pushed hard against the weatherboard on the side with the solvent cement. There is no base piece required for this option. A two-part jointer option is also available, installed in line with the stud using a base piece and a cap similar to the corner. It's a good idea to use this behind a downpipe to obscure the joins. See details on our website. Measure the height of the window flange and cut window jamb flashings to this length. Fit these on either side of the window, leaving 8 to 11mm of the tab visible beyond the edge of the window flange. Install weatherboards up to the sill of the window. Cut the weatherboard around the sill using a skill saw, jigsaw, or score with a knife and snap off. Make sure you allow clearance for the window support bar. If the cut edge sits too far from the surface beneath, you may need a packer behind the board. Continue to install the weatherboards up either side of the joinery. Firmly fit each weatherboard onto the one below before nailing. If the starting point, board pitch and window position are carefully planned, it is possible to have a full height board above the window. However, this requires a lot of pre-planning, and in most cases the board will need to be cut around the window head flashing. Use a board offcut to determine how far up the face of the weatherboard the cutout needs to be made. Now apply this measurement along the face of the weatherboard you are preparing. Measure the length of the cut required and allow for an extra 30mm notch on either side to go around the head flashing. To reduce visibility of the back of the weatherboard once installed, adjust your blade to get a tapered cut. Consider whether packers are required behind the cut weatherboard. This will depend on how far up the face of the weatherboard the cut has been made. Any packers should be fixed at 600mm centres. When you've done this, fit the board around the head flashing and firmly onto the boards below. If required, use colour-matched fast fix fasteners to hold the cut edge of the weatherboard in place. Drill 6mm holes 40mm deep through the weatherboard face, then gently hammer the fasteners into place. Space these at 600mm centres over where the packers are located under the board. To apply the finishing trim below the window, measure the distance across the base of the window and cut the base clip to that length. Remove the tear-off tab from the base clip. You can do this by hand. This tear-off tab is not needed unless you're installing PALLISIDE with Smart Fit joinery. Place the window base clip as close as practical to the bottom of the window, ensuring that the low-profile sill cap can be clipped on once the base is fixed in place. Use an appropriate size and class of pan head screw to fix the window base clip in place, with screws placed in line with the packers and battens behind. Cut the low-profile sill cap to the same length. Clip this into the base and line it up with the window. The low-profile sill cap is also used beneath hinged and sliding doors. Note never to use the larger planted sill cap under a door, even if you're using window facings, because it's not designed to withstand a person standing on it. PALLISIDE window scribers have been pre-cut to match the shape of the PALLISIDE Traditional weatherboard bevel and provide a tidy finish to the side of the joinery. They are handed right and left. From the head flashing, measure to the point where the scriber will start. Note that the top cut needs to be angled forward 15 degrees to match the angle of the head flashing. Allow 40 to 50mm extra length to each scriber beyond the base of the joinery, so that once installed, the scriber will cover the hollow end of the low-profile bead. Use a pair of pliers to carefully remove and cut off 50mm from the end of this insert, as it will get in the way of the sill cap. Carefully apply a bead of solvent cement to the full length of the scriber insert before pushing it to place onto the jamb flashing. PALLISIDE pre-cut scribers are also used to complete the box corners. They are installed in a similar way to window scribers but will run the full height of the wall. For the corner soaker option, once the weatherboards are in place and aligned properly, clip the soakers into the corner base and over the edge of the weatherboard on each side. No glue is required to hold these in place. A stylish alternative to standard window treatment is to use PALLISIDE window facings. They suit box corners perfectly. Start by measuring the height of the window flange. Cut 2 window-facing base pieces to this length and fit one on either side of the window, firmly against the flange and lined up with either end. Fix them to the weatherboard peaks using pan head screws. Next, measure across the head flashing and to the outer edge of the upstand on the bases, and cut another section of the base to this length. This will be equivalent to the window width plus 180mm, 90mm each side. Install wedge packers above the head flashing. Use tape to hold these in place. Place these at 300mm centres, lining up with the battens beneath where practical. Tear the tab off the facings base you just cut and screw this onto the packers, being sure to line it up with the base pieces. Cut the facing head cap to the same length as the base you've just installed. Clip the cap into place on the base. Measure and cut a sill base clip and fix it below the sill of the window at 300mm centres. The base clip should extend out to the end of the facing bases on either side of the window. Cut the planted sill so that it measures the width of the window joinery plus 280mm. That means it extends past the end of the window flange on each side by 140mm. Cut the planted sill and clip it into place firmly, ensuring it is installed symmetrically. For the side caps, measure the gap between the cap at the head and the planted sill. You'll also need to measure the position of the head flashing and make a handed notch cut to the top of each side cap. Carefully cut the notch in the top of each of the side caps. Also, make a 7-degree cut to the bottom edge to match the angle of the planted sill. Clip the side caps in place firmly. For the finish over the top of the window, measure the planted sill and cut a length of window head cap to the same length. Rip the cap at a 15-degree angle down its length to create the rake angle of the head cap. Apply a length of high bond double-sided tape along the cut edge of the head cap and fix above the window facing cap. It's a good idea to remove only a small part of the tape release liner and adhere the head cap to the weatherboard a small section at a time while continuing to peel away the liner. Now measure and cut the window scribers to sit neatly between the head cap and the planted sill on either side of the window. The scribers will need to be cut at each end on a 7-degree angle to match the angle of the sill and head neatly. Apply a bead of glue down the length of the scriber and press on firmly. Finally, prepare and glue the end caps to either side of the planted sill and the head cap. Now it's time to step back and admire a successful PALLISIDE installation. Be sure to visit palliside.co.nz to download the accompanying documentation. Thanks for choosing PALLISIDE to make your project a success, so you'll never need to give it a second thought.